you become a mother, it isn't rite of passage
Mm-hmm.
and a deep, deep, deep initiation, and it expands you. Like, it expands your capacity, your resiliency, your heart opens, it cracks wide open. And that does not always mean that it is beautiful. And women, we're warriors. We have been warriors from the ancient times. People have tried to dim that, but motherhood shows you the warrior within.
Welcome, mother, take a breath. Lay down the weight you've carried. For when our river freely flows, our soul allows and allows. Rio and Soul.
Welcome to Rio and Soul, a podcast for mothers navigating the unhinged and transformative journey of rediscovering themselves.
Whether you're overwhelmed, healing, inspired, uncertain, grounded, ambitious, evolving, let's walk this path together.
Well, let's start with our coffees and taking a little cheers to our first episode. Oh my goodness.
We're doing it.
I know. What's your mind saying? Spread the love.
Spread the love.
And mine says good things are coming. Well, so this is our first episode.
Yeah, really exciting. We're trying something new to bring to the people, to the women, to the mothers.
Yeah, there's a lot of service and gift and talent and
authenticity and
coming.
Yeah.
So we said we're starting with your hosts. We're your hosts.
Christina Belue. Hi.
And Oriana, Padron. We are starting this first episode with just kind of telling you guys about what our goals are, how this podcast was born, who we are, and just what to expect, what you can, hope for in each episode and what we plan to bring.
Yeah. And I believe that before we dive into all this juiciness that we've been birthing, let's just take a moment to drop into the present moment and be attuned to the energy of the space and feel and connect into our heart space and our body. So just gently closing your eyes and turning your gaze inward, and just first off noticing your breath, and if it feels shallow or does it feel deep. And we're just here noticing. We're not fixing or forcing anything. We're just dropping in with the body, giving space to listen. Now just begin by gently taking a nice slow inhale in through the nose, filling up the base of the belly, all the way into the heart, opening the heart, dropping the shoulders, and allowing that breath to carry all the way up to the crown, holding here. And then open mouth, exhale, let it all out. Letting out a sound one more time, breathing in, deepest breath you've taken all day. Yes. Oh, I'm so excited for this.
That felt good.
It does. Just like literally 60 seconds of your time can alter your mental states, ground you back in so you don't yell at your kids. At least for a minute.
Like time slowed down. It felt like I was like, maybe because I'm in my head about the episode, but I'm like, okay. But I'm sure on the outside it was also really fast. So I'm thankful to have been able to like slow down and take a breath.
Yeah, because time is not even real. So when we just drop into the body, time and space are just kind of moving at their own, but it gives you a moment to go in and listen to your heart. So thanks for doing that with me.
Thank you for guiding us through that. All right. So for our conversation, so each episode We will kick off with, what this episode will bring, and we hope just an organic, open, sacred space for a conversation, not an interview, not a, some intention, but not with like full of structure, which might be a little hard for me. But and also we need that because we can like go far out
into
right?
the ethers. Yeah, I think that this is going to be just a really beautiful community hub of resources. We're going to be diving into our own lived experiences and wisdom, and then bringing women who have something to share, because we're not meant to do all these things alone, and walking this path together is what helps. When you hear a healing, the mother heals the family, the community, and that shit ripples into all areas of the world, and it makes, on an energetic level, it has a really big imprint and impact. And so we want you to feel like you're sitting with your mom friend, drinking some coffee, learning some cool shit, maybe laughing, maybe doing something feral, or maybe just grounding into the heart.
Yeah, and feeling seen.
Yes.
And not alone. So our conversation, we'll start with who we are
outside of our roles.
I was gonna say outside of our roles and professionally, as mothers, what season of our lives that we're currently in, what motherhood means to us right now. Yeah.
All right.
You want to start?
Yeah. So outside of my professional title, I am a licensed massage therapist, somatic breathwork facilitator, space holder. I'm moving into bringing my business into the corporate wellness space because they need it very much so. But the most important role I have in my life right now is being a mother. I have a 3.5-year-old boy and an almost 2-year-old boy. That's so crazy to think. And I love them deeply, and they're wild, and they humble me every day. But outside of all of these identities that I claim and tether to, I am a artist, I am a dancer, I am water, sun, and fire. I'm still working on getting the earth element in. I'm a lover of food, travel, music, being in community with people, and expressing and feeling deeply. I'm a deep feeler. And I know that some of my purpose here is also to break some patterns, generational patterns, and I have been initiated so many times to break those patterns, and I'm learning that now, and motherhood brought that to me. So that's kind of who I am outside of all of those roles.
All right, that's beautiful. You are a very beautiful person.
Thank you. So are you. We wouldn't be doing this without this woman right here, guys.
There's a lot of emotions today. So I was born and raised in Venezuela by my grandparents, and I moved to the United States when I was about 8 or 9 with my mom. And, here I was always the Spanish kid and the brown kid. And then there I was always the American. That was an interesting transition. And I went to school in the University of Montevallo for my bachelor's in fine arts. So I am a photographer, and that is still something that I hold passion in and that I do. Once it became a job, it became like very stressful if things looked good or if people would like my work. So I naturally fell into childcare, where I quickly felt like I was with my people because I was with kids. So it started my passion working with kids. I also knew that I was going to be a mother. I also knew, I don't know, that there was just something more, but I had not woken up really yet. I was still very much in the matrix, if you will. So lo and behold, got kids. So I have a 4-year-old, a 1-year-old, almost 2-year-old, and I actually have a bonus 10-year-old. After having my daughter, I, about a year in, started working from home. It became about legacy. What am I leaving for her? So the last 3 years, I finally kind of started to trust and let go. And it's been incredibly hard, not having that security, but it is so worth the lifestyle, and how
we're
we're
rich.
raising our
We're home with
kids.
our kids.
Right.
That's like very not a common thing for our parents' generation and before that too. So our children are blessed to have us as their mothers at home with them. And I appreciate you sharing all that and being vulnerable and speaking your truth. And that's what we're here to do, is speak truth and be real and no cookie cutter shit. We're going to tell it like it is because we need more of that, especially in this world of AI and people don't trust. And so I want to bring more of that real human experience and the beauty of motherhood and also all the depths of motherhood that feel like darkness, for some of us. So yeah, I'm very excited to be here and do this with you. Thank you.
So besides, who we are, you'll get to know us even more and more as the episodes and the podcast progresses. We also want to talk about why this podcast exists, how it was born, how it became what it became. And for me, a big part is this gap that it's filling and what it is that we are creating a space for that we don't feel it already exists.
For me, and her and I are weaving, Oriana and I are weaving our own lens of how we want this to unfold. But for me, I want to have a space where I can go to my other sister and be like, hey, I have this thing happening and I don't want to go to a doctor, and about herbs and about pelvic health, and I can be seen in my truth of what I'm experiencing and have a resource to work through that. And also I want a space where moms aren't judging each other. I've been in so many mom groups where it just feels like you're doing this wrong and you should do that and that. And I'm like, we're all doing the best that we can with the resources that we have. And so I really want women who are not yet mothers to feel inspired that they have a wellspring of resources and women to come together within in community and heal together, dance together, play. And I also want to share like the magic of motherhood and life and being an entrepreneur. And while I'm parenting my kids, they're also parenting me. So I feel like there's a lot of different resources out there, but a lot of them focus on just entrepreneurship or just in health or just in business or how to be a homeschooling mom. And I want it to be no matter what type of mother that you are welcome here. You will find something that resonates in your heart. And maybe you learn even just one little thing, or you feel seen a little bit more than you did yesterday. Because it's about little steps. It's not about fixing, forcing, or anything like that. So.
Yeah, I think when you mentioned judgment, yeah, this world can feel so alone in any aspect. But when you become a mother and in that process of trying to conceive, even, there's just so much you don't even know. And when you're on the other side of it, if you can really find that we are actually just doing our best, then we just give each other that space, and you feel like you can put your guard down and show up and not be judged for whatever decisions that you make, and it be okay that they vaccinate their children and I don't, or if they chose to breastfeed and they chose formula. Like there's so many things that play into decision making when you start this journey. And then my other, I think for me, when we started talking about it, and I started doing my little research of what's out there, what are we bringing? It became really actually pretty clear to me that there wasn't a space that holds all of this, right? So there are amazing podcasts that talk about women in spirituality, women in business, spirituality in business. I mean, there's just so much. So I think we're bringing a platform right, a space where you will be judged. Doesn't matter what spiritual path you're on. Doesn't matter the story.
We want to cultivate a space for you to know that when you come here, there's something for you, and
it's like the pride of motherhood.
You're not going to be isolated or alone. It's sitting down with your mom friend and just almost kind of like shooting the shit.
Yeah, because I even feel like now thinking about, I have different friends who we line up with business and feminine energy, but not spiritually and the woo woo stuff, or like somebody who's like really spiritual and woo woo, but they're corporate.
Yeah.
And also, I just thought about, it's like the pride of motherhood, where we were talking last night about the idea of inclusivity, despite of your story or how you were in this journey, however you are experiencing going through a journey of womanhood and or motherhood. And you said something earlier too about our children are raising us. This is really about raising ourselves, because yes, other people and our partners are reflections in our mirrors that bring the things that trigger us, right? Like, but when it comes to kids, when we have our own children, they're pulling shit back from like deep rooted before even us. And yeah,
and I feel like something I've noticed as a mom is that like things that I took for granted as a child because I wanted to grow up so fast. My childhood was very intense in a lot of different ways. And I feel like I got to miss out on a lot of my childhood experience. And it feels so nourishing to be able to like just playing and like puddles, jumping in puddles. Like that shit is so fun and it brings you joy. And I think that like being a mom gives you, or a parent, gives you an opportunity to activate that inner child that is seeking creativity and playfulness and pleasure and the small things. And also, they're a big ass giant mirror of what still is present within when you're not wearing the mask and the things that maybe you haven't like worked through necessarily. And not to say that we need to always go in and do deep work. I do think that there's like a balance of both, but I think kids give us an opportunity to reparent ourselves.
Yeah, they're a gift in this human experience to become higher selves. They're like a little box of all our problems,
Yeah.
of all the things that maybe didn't even know we're still carrying. And it's not until we have that opportunity to face that and to work through it that then we can become better mothers or better women and can better tap into that river, that inner knowing that,
It's a rite of passage, essentially. You are initiated. When you become a mother, it doesn't matter if you're mothering an adopted child or, I mean, even your animals. When you become a mother, it isn't a rite of passage and a deep, deep, deep initiation. And it also, and it expands you. Like, it expands your capacity, your resiliency, your heart opens, it cracks wide open. And that does not always mean that it is beautiful. And women, we're warriors. We have been warriors from the ancient times. People have tried to dim that, but motherhood shows you the warrior within. And I'm grateful to be reminded.
It's a time to tap in.
Yeah.
If you weren't already before, this will bring you right to the river.
And this is why I really think it's important and cool that we're doing this in a way for the women who want to become mothers, because I do think that there are versions of my story that I'm like, well, I wish there were some certain things I knew before coming into this to make this feel more supportive.
Yeah,
although it's a great mystery, and I was with a hypnotherapist on a call yesterday, and being okay with the uncertainty of it all, and sitting with the uncertainty instead of running away from it, trying to figure it out, just being with it and letting the body kind of give you this expression of that truth. And in that unknown, in that uncertainty, more blessings and opportunities, because there's an infinite amount of things that can go instead of trying to control. Because for me, I really step into more of my control as a mother. And I feel like now I'm being asked to lean back, let the reins go, and have trust and faith and surrender into it, which is the basis of the work that I do also.
Yeah. I loved when you brought in the idea of motherhood being an initiation and rather a death or becoming someone new or different, and rather just an opportunity to up level, to become a better self, a higher self, to show up in a bigger way, to tap in and get to know yourself better, to be able to know how to show up and be of service.
It is the ultimate gift of service, being a mother. And there was something that I really value, and there could be some disagreement on this, but there's this talk of like, oh, made into mother, and then you step into it, and then that's what you are. And it's almost like a I can't think of the word, but an adolescent version of you as a maiden. But I believe that the essence of my maidenhood is what makes me a great mother, and I'm not detaching from that. I am that, and I am a mother, and I am this. I am all. I'm a creative, like a creatrix, of many, many multi-dimensional things, and I don't have to cut ties to my maiden identity to be a mother. I feel like it is what keeps my fuel going. Is the things that bring me joy and pleasure, and all of those lessons I learned as a maiden have shaped the way that I mother, and I continue to mother in the ever evolving path that I'm on, and that we're all on.
Yeah. I did want to say one last thing with that last part, as far as what we are bringing. So like you were saying, if it's somebody who is maybe thinking about this journey, you can now see that there is a space and a way to live however you please, and that you can afford it, and that you can find joy in that, and that you can, whatever it may be. So the idea of a podcast just really clicked.
So in this day and attention of like short, like I was just telling Oriana, this is like people's attention spans aren't, long form content on social media is not a thing anymore. It's short form, but there's so much depth that comes to this journey that needs to be able to be expressed, and it's a beautiful way to express yourself through talking and sharing and through your voice. In person and together, and instead of just getting dopamine highs off quick hooks and things like that. So I'm really excited
just engage and listen and
I think this is going to be healing for us to be able to like speak our truth.
He was like, you're about to heal.
Like, oh my God. I think and we're trying something new and putting ourselves out there. So thank you for supporting and being here with us today. When
in my little personal journey, after the podcast idea came up, I'm like, looking for the signs and like whatnot. And there's this one reel that came up, and I may have told you this, and she was like, ask yourself these 10 questions. And a few of them were like, what did you always get in trouble for when you were little? Talking. Yeah. What were you known for most in school? I got most talkative in 3 different schools. What do you enjoy? Like, it like literally every question was like talking. And I'm like, am I just making it fit? But I'm also not. No, like, that's crazy. Like the answer, okay, I can, I can talk and it be enough. And it be.
Do you remember in school, I don't know, like, if your school did this, but mine had, like, the little letters, like, E, and it would change with colors. Like, it was like a conduct card. And we had these, like, little clips. And mine would always get to the bottom. And they would tell my parents, she's so sweet, she's so smart, and she doesn't shut up. And she doesn't, like, as soon as she finished her test, she's looking around to see who she could talk to. And they're like, my mom was like, yeah, I know. We would be in the back of the car, and she's just back there yapping.
And that's our kids now.
And, and what happened is I've had, like, a blocked throat chakra for some time. And it was like, I would sing in the car, and my parents would be like, shut up, like, because I would be a little tone deaf. And then, like, always telling me to be quiet. And years of telling me to be quiet ended up suppressing things. And now I'm ready to break
Yeah.
through from that. But it makes total sense. Our whole everything with this
Connection.
podcast, connection.
Yeah. That's a
You
whole
gotta
episode.
tell them about your children. Yeah,
Oh my goodness. Well, let's talk about the name because that is where we're at. So Rio and Soul, you know, once we finally were like, are you doing a podcast? Is this a thing?
Yeah.
And I think we started with the name to like maybe make it real, right? To see it as an entity, as a thing. So we had Rooted and Rise. We had, I feel like it was variations of that. And you know what I think? I think it was the R's. Like it was like the R's were trying to get in that space. We went through different things, and my first son's name is Rio. Mm-hmm. Your first son's name is Isaiah Soul,
like Spanish for like the sun, SOL. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So at some point, one of us said, and I think we were here at your house, Rio and Soul, and it rang, right? Prior to this, I had started tapping into the Women Who Run with Wolves book. And she is talking about, the wild woman within, la loba, and a phrase that she uses to speak of not just the woman within, but the actual inner energy and flow that is birth given, that is already there. She calls it Rio Abajo Rio, which in a sense, you are el rio. So river beneath river is what it translates to. So you are the river and the river is within you. Mm-hmm. Then her second son, who is my son's age a month apart, is river, which is Rio in English. And then with soul, we obviously, started considering soul because of what this, what it is that we're talking about and what it is that we're tapping into.
Soul emergence too. I feel like some things that really like I love having my son's middle name, but something about even the way like that I talk and where I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. It's very soulful. It's about our essence. It's about your purpose here, and your purpose outside of motherhood, because that is a thing too. But really like getting deep into what our soul is like calling for. And like you said, that river beneath river, like all of the medicine that you ever need is right here inside you. You can get into the heart space and listen to your heart. It will speak. You don't need to go out and search for it. Everything that we share here on this podcast is just going to be a support and a resource, but innately, when you give yourself the space and permission to listen to yourself. So.
Yeah. So yeah, we got to Rio and Soul, and then it just, it started to feel really right with this balance that we both really feel, I feel like, with each other. Rio bringing in this idea of flow, transformation, obviously nature, and becoming and just tapping into that. And the soul, of course, is the spirit and the intuition and the authenticity and what comes out of that knowing, out of that current. So yeah.
So I think that what you'll find here is more than just on the spiritual side of things. I think what you'll find here is heartfelt wisdom and truth. Not truth just from us, but when you find resonance in something, it'll give you permission. It'll be like a permission slip to.
I wanted to read our, I don't know that it's an affirmation, but it is a reminder in a sense of this idea. And I think you can apply it. Obviously, it's not just if you're a mother. Where the river of inner knowing flows, the soul remembers and begins to live aligned.
Living in alignment, yep. And you'll start to feel when you're out of alignment because it'll show up in your business, in your mothering, in your relationships, in your body physically. You will start to physically see things that come up. And so I really love that was in there.
Yeah. So now we can talk about the topics, the hubs that we will be holding space for or talking about. Obviously, in this process, we made a list of guests. There's so much room because there's so much to talk about. There's so many people. If you're interested and you want to, have a space, a platform where with a new network, with new audience that where you can bring your wisdom or your medicine to. That's exactly what we're looking for.
In the lens of sustainability with like regenerative farming, herbal medicines, anything in women's health, birth, postpartum, entrepreneurship, somatics. Like we want it to be a place for, I guess, yeah, deep wisdom and.
I mean, I want it to be any woman, any mother can relate because there is space, because you are worthy, because it is your. We were talking earlier, birth's given right of just existing.
Yeah.
But what you really find is when you find your soul tribe, your people, all of the things align. Of course, this, of course that.
And once you like come into spaces like this and you start connecting with women all over the world, you start to like weave into what I call like an upward spiral, and then it just starts magnetizing more what you're desiring, more and more people, what you're looking for in life. And I want people to be able to find themselves in spaces to go to all over the world. And I'm really excited about some people that we both want to bring on and offer their knowledge and service to the collective to you all. So
So motherhood and the transformation from womanhood to initiation, leveling up into motherhood, healing and embodiment, learning how to trust ourselves, our inner knowing and wisdom, spirituality, awakening, purpose and business, like you mentioned, entrepreneurship, and that maybe it's not entrepreneurship. Maybe you are happy with your 9 to 5. Maybe you thrive in the corporate world. That's the whole point, is that it's not so much about like the how, it's living with purpose, and
it feels true to you.
Yeah. So that's kind of an overarching, summary of our podcast. I think it's going to bring so much. But these last few things are some more questions, little bit deeper questions that we can, answer and share about ourselves and our experience. And then we can close out.
Okay, cool. Well, I want to ask you.
Okay.
What parts of ourselves do you feel like that can get lost in motherhood?
I mean, our needs, our self care, just like the attunement to self. And I feel like we're already so far from that because of the matrix, because of domestication, because of, just the way that humanity is and has been. And some people do that with just connections, like they lose themselves in, their partner or in trying to take care of a sick family member, But when there's kids, there's some sort of selflessness that I feel we tap into without, it's innate. Now you're like, you don't sleep. There's that. So I feel like it is a rebirth, in a sense that you're going to get to know yourself in a different way. That said, though, especially my first year, going into second year with Ramona, I was also reflected the importance of refinding myself, my new self. And at that point, it was like my own individual identity, not just as a mother, had changed. I went from working hour weeks or whatever it was to not not having any like security or income in a sense for a while. So,
and that's a big one. Financial security can get really fucking scary. Like when one parent is having to hold down all the finances, and that's I feel like a topic to be talked about too. And it doesn't have to be now, but it's like that starts to create a whole slew of things that can pop up in relationships and in the way that you mother when you feel like you're bracing and living in survival.
Right. Yeah. What about you?
I have an interesting journey into motherhood, and we will save that story for a special episode. But I felt for a while, because I suffered through a lot of postpartum anxiety and depression with both kids, even though my babies are like 21 months apart. So I even prepared the second time for postpartum, had a postpartum chef. We had a thing called Seven Sisters. People were coming by to take care of my toddler, help me do dishes, and all these things to feel supportive, and I still felt robbed of my joy of being a mom because of the postpartum depression and anxiety. It really took a toll on me, and I feel like I was imprisoned to that emotion. And not in the sense of like, oh, I want to hurt my child. I just was crying every day, really irritable, would get really in my head. And I'm a very strong woman, so I'm like trying to hold it down. The way my second son was during postpartum, in the sense of very needing to be always on me. He had an upper lip tie, so breastfeeding became extremely tough. And just being minerally depleted affects you on a physiological level. So maybe it's postpartum depression, or maybe you're just depleted. And either way, I felt really robbed of my joy in motherhood. I had a really hard time going from, at that time, being like made into mother. I had a completely different lifestyle. And my first pregnancy was a very much surprise. I didn't know until I was 6.5 months. And then I was trying to heal. And a year later, not even, I found out I was pregnant again. And I was like, holy tits, I'm not ready for this. I am barely surviving right now. And I was an entrepreneur at that time. So before I started my massage practice, I was working in restaurants, bartending, bar managing, and all these things. And then surprise, surprise, I'm pregnant. And so my financial security got lost. That safety, essentially, the root of it is I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel safe in finances. My relationship was toxic. I didn't feel safe in my own headspace, and nothing felt like home. It is a sense of self that was lost, but in that sense of losing myself, I actually rediscovered myself beneath the pain. And that pain that I felt needed to be resurfaced, because for years I had disassociated it through alcohol and psychedelics and other partying things. So it's actually been a really beautiful opportunity to see who I am beneath all the stories of my life, my childhood, my trauma, my pain. So I'm actually very thankful for the suffering that I've been through. Yeah, and I would say like that leads into the next question of why does motherhood trigger so much healing? You know, it like for me personally, birth uprooted all of my stuff because I was sober, and then I had to feel it all. I had no place to go but be at home with my baby and sit in the silence. And in the silence, like I said before, you can really hear yourself, and everything of my life was like resurfacing like a wart. And also, when you're sleep deprived, you're irritable. When you're not eating enough and you're breastfeeding, that causes reactivity in the body. So, you know, as we're taking care of our children, who's taking care of us? And that is another reason this podcast is so important, because I want you, especially if you have no one, to know that you have someone. Because as a mother, you are the hearth of the home. And when you are not okay, the home is not okay.
Amen, sister. How does awakening look in everyday life? I mean, I think embodiment and tapping into the things that speak to you, whether it's a podcast or a book, friends, people, connections, finding your soul tribe, not entertaining fake things or things that drain your social cup or your battery, and like wanting to. I think the more you awake, the more you see that there is, as long as you have gain that interest, sustain that interest, and educate yourself through, like I said, podcast, books, people, you're staying on the journey. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, what does awakening look like in everyday life? I think it's remembering the simplicity of what is already present and alive here right now. And this is something I was wanting to create content over, because I was in White County, Georgia, and I'm out here, been nude at the waterfall with my friends or in a river, and I'm like, y'all, I want to just get in my car with my towel on, but somebody's gonna pull up and they're gonna think I'm naked, and I am naked, but I got a towel on, and I'm just like driving down, looking at the mountains with my hands out the window, almost titties out, And I'm like, this feels like what feels free to me,
Yeah.
and activates a simple pleasure of joy. And that's for
Awakening.
me. Yeah, it's like
It's true.
really tapping into the presence and seeing what is alive for you right now. And remembering. It's all a remembrance.
Yes, yeah. It's a conscious awareness to tap in and stay tapped in and practice tapping in. Yeah.
This is our truth rattle. When we feel something resonate in our bones, we rattle it up.
This is a good question. How do our childhood experiences influence our parenting? Gosh. Well, for me, I mean, this is a big. So, like I said, my grandparents raised me in Venezuela up until I was 8 or 9 years old. And actually, so my father had died when I was an infant, or maybe even while my mom was pregnant. That's how little I know. So he was all the way absent, not even really spoken about. And then my mom was absent. So I think for me, it affects in the sense that it's making me face that. Obviously, now it was a sacrifice that she chose for me, for
and having compassion for that.
Right. So it changed from like I would have thought, I'm just always going to be present, like that idea of like giving what I didn't get.
Yeah.
Right?
I noticed a lot of us do that. Like we want to give our kids a life we didn't have because we thought we just didn't have this great life, but you don't know until you become a parent.
Right. Right. So it actually changed the way that I look. Obviously, at that decision, but then also now how it was my grandmother that raised me. She raised 5 before that, and she helped raise my sister as well. So I think if anything, it's just how much I was immersed in obviously living in that culture. And that's what I want to bring and tap into for Ramona and for Rio, my kids and Lennon, not just day-to-day stuff, but also culture and skills and being tuned in.
Yeah, and I think most of us come from this place of wanting to reparent ourselves because of whatever. I mean, there are people that did have a really beautiful childhood. For the journey I'm actually on right now is my whole childhood experience has influenced every part of my parenting, both the beautiful and the not so beautiful. I mean, I do things a lot differently than my parents do, and I think it has cultivated a sense of shame that they think I'm putting on them, and then they also are putting on themselves because I'm wanting to do it different in the sense of all of the ways that I do what I do. But and them knowing that I am doing this from a deep place of love, and my children are very, very free and wild and spirited and intelligent, and so they know that I'm doing it from a place of deep care and nurturing. And I'm also being faced with the very thing I ran away from as a child that I didn't want to be a part of has actually resurfaced in the way I mother. And that is a hard truth to swallow. And it's been reflected back to me in some really vulnerable ways from my 3-year-old, from their dad. And so it's giving me an opportunity to, like I said before, go and heal generational trauma. Like I have to be the one that suffers and to break it. And I'm seeing it. My mom, she's asleep. She's asleep. She's so asleep to it. And I actually do hold a lot of loving space for her because what I'm experiencing, she experienced, and apparently so did my grandmother. And it's like now I know that it wasn't easy, and her body and her brain were doing what they had to do to protect her, and mine are showing up in that same way.
She was doing her best at her time.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm being shown like right in my face, like I can't even ignore the things that are happening, to go in and mitigate it, but in a loving place, not that I am a bad person or wrong. So I think that most of us, everything from our childhood experience, that's when our conditioning begins. So it affects all areas. of your life until you make the conscious choice to choose how you want to show up in this world and parenting and your business and so
which
on
is
and so forth.
which is a very conscious practice.
Yeah,
always like
it
anything
is a practice.
else.
It's a devotion to yourself and to your family.
So this next question: Why do we feel that women lose intuition with themselves? I mean, I think that like you said, from very early on, we are conditioned to dim your light, to that you make money a certain way, that you live life a certain way, that you go on this journey of adolescence and grow into whatever gender you are a certain way, whether it's how and when you marry someone and who you marry, school, your passions. So many people are shamed for loving something, just for whatever reason.
And also, the day and age that we live in, it is so much more challenging to listen to your intuition because there's so much information out there. It's almost way too much for you. And then it's like, for me at least, I start to question myself. I mean, I was externally resourcing things all the time. And my body would literally tell me things and I would ignore it. And then I would know, oh, that was like actually my intuition speaking to me. And it's just too loud out there. It's just too loud out there.
Yeah. I feel like that's a purpose of the universe or of this human life experience, is that we are apt to forget. And you choose your story, your body, your vessel, and you go in and you've forgotten everything. And so we are giving each other, because we are one, to remember, to find that. And I feel like it's a feeling. It's like being in love. It's, how do you know? You don't know about awakeness, or you don't know about that inner knowing, or about spirit and source, until you experience it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I didn't have periods for most of my life, and hence the reason why I didn't know I was pregnant for so long. There was such a disconnect from that womb and heart space, and like, that is why I do the work that I do now. Breath work is a beautiful, beautiful way to go into the subconscious mind and hear your intuition and hear your truth and cut out the noise. And when you're in motherhood, it's loud. It can be very loud depending on how many kids you have and just taking care of the home and whatever else you have going on. So I think it's really easy to lose that. But once you put yourself out in nature and into earth elements, speaking with plants, I feel like, and other women and women being together in a village community setting, I feel like really turn that back on, because you're attuned the same way when women get together and their cycles happen, or like the cycle with your moon. I feel like once we get back to immersing ourselves in the earth and getting off these things, we can go in and fully listen.
And remember.
And remember,
So what does aligned purpose feel like?
That's a question I probably am still moving through on the journey that I'm in. But I do know that everything in my life brought me to this moment right now for a reason and a purpose, and that everything actually is working out for me. And if I keep that in mind, because every time you come to this plane, you come here to learn something or to like karmic lessons. And I feel like when things feel good, you start to notice like coincidences, but there's actually really no coincidences out there. It's all divinely orchestrated. Yeah, and you'll start to see it. You get messages, connections, numbers, animals, opportunities, and I think that's when you know like you're living in alignment. And I don't know if that answers the question, but
well, I think it. Like for me. I was gonna say, I think it does, and my answer is a little different. But before I give my answer, that kind of makes me think of, for example, how we met. And our son's name, River, Rio. He was born 9/16. Oh, well, Rio was born 10/16. And Isaiah Soul and Ramona Moon. That was another connection. And then his birthday being 12/12 and Ramona's being 11/11.
That's what sparked everything with our friendship.
That was the day we met. We realized that stuff.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
So it's I feel like that is the result, like you're saying, of you're seeing this. I see them as affirmations when you see these little signs or things like that. Not everything necessarily means something huge, or it's whatever it speaks to you. Take it for what it is.
Well, that's how this is birthed.
So that was affirmation of this alignment, you know? Yeah. So for me, what does aligned purpose look like in this journey of really getting to know myself, rediscover myself? I'm tapping into all of the ways to learn about myself, such as human design, the Enneagram, the chakras, the different ways to think spiritually, whether, it's through neuroscience or it's very woo woo, whatever it may be. And in learning myself and taking that knowledge and putting tools in place and doing things a certain way, I'm seeing that I'm working in alignment rather than, because obviously when I'm not, start to have a bad day, or like shit just keeps falling, or you hit the corner of something. I don't know. It just, you feel the misalignment. And so for me, I'm a projector in human design, which, gosh, that's such a big can to open because it's so hard to wait for the invitation, which is my way of utilizing my energy, is to sit and wait. That's hard. But as a projector, what I learned was that when I'm in alignment, my feeling is success. Right now, I feel successful.
Yeah.
And it's not because of obviously a paycheck or money or, an achievement.
Right.
It's filling my cup. This is success. We have started. We've done it. So I feel in alignment. Here come my chills. Here come my chills.
The message hits, she gets the chills.
I do.
And I want to prompt a question. What if it's actually not misalignment, but more redirection? When these things come off like, okay, yes, it feels like off alignment, but what if it's redirecting you back to your truth and into a different path that spirals you back in down the upward, right? The upward spiral.
Totally. It's like it's the play on words. It's not about not being in alignment, but it's about needing to be redirected. Or like needing to get back on track. I always feel like, oh yeah, I made this decision way back, but I redirected myself. I went on a detour I wasn't intended to go on. And not that I'm still not in alignment, is that my alignment's here and I'm getting back on my path. I'm redirecting myself.
Your highest self.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think tapping into that intuition, getting to know yourself, and listening to those things that make you feel successful or rich or joyful, or, that's living in alignment.
Yeah. As a listener, what parts of yourself are you having to unlearn? And what are you also reclaiming? I'm reclaiming my peace.
Yeah. In one of the, many videos I listened to, when you thinking of the wish fulfilled, there's so many words that was like comfort, freedom, and mine was peace. Because in peace, I feel like that's where I can embrace being rich in life and free of strains, or,
I think we're all needing that right now. We're all, so many
that's where
of my
love
clients,
is, compassion.
When I ask them, like, before a breathwork session or before a massage, it's like, if you have like one intention for how you want to feel at the end of the session, what is it? And people keep just coming in with peace.
I actually, that's what I want to, that's like the ultimate, but I'm feeling that I want to reclaim my joy.
Yeah.
I feel like when you can tap into that energy, then you become activated.
Well, you're
once
on
you
a
feel
higher
good
frequency of love. Choose a higher
and
vibration.
You can receive.
Yeah, like it literally lifts the veil of the things that you're not seeing when you're in these lower vibrations. And joy is one of the higher ones.
That's something I need to reclaim, is dancing. And I do a lot, but like, as you're sharing this idea of helping that, bring that in, out of mothers and women and out of your like soul, I do, but not in a medicinal way. In the way that it can really be therapeutic and lose myself, let child play. So so I with each episode and conversation, we want to have our guests or ourselves, in this case, answer these questions. So we're putting them out to you guys, but also we want to give you guys something that you can leave here with, that you can put into practice, into play when you need a tool, a suggestion, an idea, So I'm going to think for a second about what that might be for myself.
Well, if I can invite you to do one thing, if you want to tap into your highest state of ecstatic joy, first of all, get off your phone and take your shoes off. Go put your feet in the grass and go shake your ass. Okay? Like literally put some speakers on your headphones on, turn on that song that it activates some kind of emotion in you. It could be headbanging, it could be twerking, it could be something more lyrical, but go move your body. Movement is one of the easiest ways to move emotions through the body. Emotion is energy in motion. So expressing it, because I know that a lot of us feel anxious and overwhelmed, but if you just sit there and you sit with the fear, it's only going to cultivate more of that. So get outside, touch the grass, and shake your ass.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, I love that. That was perfect. Okay. And so something I didn't say earlier, speaking about myself, is that I'm a photographer and I am a creative strategist, and that is evolving. It's in progress. You evolve all of life, but so it has always been about business. I'm a Capricorn as well, so if you're into that, I'm wired very much a certain way. She's bringing the soul part of it, this essence and that wisdom, and I'm bringing the more grounded strategy and tangible things. And I don't, not me, but like this essence is bringing into So my first thought is strategy is your morning routines, your morning ritual. So for me, and I think for anybody, your morning is going to set the tone for your day. And it's not just the kind of day that you're going to have with your partner or when you go to work or the mood that you're going to be in with your kids, but just literally don't even think about them, because it's going to start here. Tuning your frequency to be in the best place possible to take on the day, because then it can be a really shitty day. But if you're in tune with that, you can find the peace in dancing in the rain, or in the evolution of things changing and working for you, not as a negative thing. So my suggestion here, my strategy, is to find something that you can do that sets or reshifts the tone for you. So whether that is getting outside barefoot and doing some jumping jacks, whether that's invoking your senses. I love an incense, obviously some music, or if it's a podcast, but
whatever,
so that you can
for you, right? Like what is it going to support? What is one thing you could do for yourself in the morning that's going to support how the rest of the day plays out?
So mine is coffee.
Yeah.
Literally, if just making it. And I think it's because of that ritual practice. I'm already in my head thinking about the day when I'm doing it. Obviously, drinking it, it's like I'm reaping that, that benefit of what I've done for myself. The smell evokes, that sense. And that's just my little thing. It's senses, sounds, and a ritual that helps you set your tone, strategize how you're going to have a badass day.
Yeah. And so, I think that leaves it. Go touch the grass, shake your ass, find something that supports you in the morning to set the tone for the day. And thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. We might have rambled on. It might have been a whole thing, but we just wanted, again, to
hope we have it all.
Feel like you're just hanging out with your mom friend. And we're going to bring some really epic human beings onto this podcast. I'm really, really excited. So please stay tuned to Rio Soul. And if you are interested in being on this podcast, once you go to the Instagram, we have a link tree set up in the bio. You can click on the guest interest form, fill it out, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Yeah. Thank you very much. We see you. We love you. We're here. We did it.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for having us.